So guys, welcome back to the Tiree Wave Classic 2024 Year 40 livestream. Once again, for anyone just joining us, this is the British title sail-off. So this is Phil Horrocks and Lucas Meldrum in a 15-minute heat on the Maze Beach Tiree 2024. This is the final event of the year, and this is the final heat of the year to decide the men's pro champion for this year. So Lucas with a smaller inside wave here, but it's got just enough size to be of consequence. Slightly different heat duration this time, 15-minute heat for the final of the British Tour. And a couple of nice little critical turns right at the head of the wave. Not the biggest wave we've seen all day, but certainly not one of the small grovelers either. Kind of somewhere mid-section. A little aerial there, just lifts the heels. That's him into fourth or fifth bottom turn territory on a wave, so that's a good opening. The guys should be pretty in sync at this stage, having sailed a few heats each with the kind of timings and what the set waves are looking like. So let's see what Lucas makes of this one. So it's small, but there's a little bit of something there that he might be able to work with. Bearing off now, sets the rail, small aerial inside, lifts the heels, just above the lip there, but only a one-turn wave. Definitely becoming a little bit more fickle just with the turning of the tide. Seems there's a bit less consistency in terms of the waves on offer, but that looks a lot better this time. It seems to be setting up a little bit better. Is he going to go for this one? He's definitely in a better position to generate power and speed. Here he goes, he's going for it. So first turn, cracks off the top, not particularly consequential wave, but he needs to open up with the scoring on something. But he's not very happy with that, so again, jibing out and heading out the back. Very light on the inside. Oh, now this is interesting. What's going to happen here? This is controversial. Who has right of way? So Lucas has dropped out on a wave that I would have said he may have had right of way on, and given up to Phil on that one. Interesting. Phil continuing to ride towards the beach. Into the next bottom turn, some nice snappy top turns coming through. Now, Lucas may just not have fancied the war on that one, and therefore opted to go out and find something that he was happier with. Maybe he didn't feel it was big enough or whatever, but for me, I didn't quite see how he took up that wave, but it appeared that he had priority on it. He was on it first and further out to sea. Now, this one looks a little bit better for Lucas, maybe. Always hard to tell with the drone, they do look bigger from the drone angle. But he's committed to it now. Into the bottom turn, nice and vertical off the top, snaps off, gets a little bit hung up at the lip, but he's still in a very good position on the correct side of the shoulder. Second snap, much nicer. Down under 7 minutes now, well past halfway through in this heat. And we've got Lucas picking up on a groundswell wave. Looks a bit more consequential with a nice shoulder on it. Let's see what he can do with this one. Gone split screen. No, Lucas not happy with that, but Phil is now riding on his wave. Oh, and almost got hung up on the aerial there, but he landed the aerial and continued sailing. Needs to be a little bit careful, he doesn't go too far downwind, but Phil's an expert at this stuff, so he's utilising a little bit of upwind turning to get him back into pole position, and then accelerated off right downwind to get back into the braking section. So that's probably the highest scoring wave of the day. Wave of the heat so far. Really interesting to see what happened there. Lucas just had a little fall, but Phil is in pole position for this wave. Let's try and follow him. And here he goes, bearing off, starting to generate that speed. Throws the rig into the inside rail. Cranking off the top. Lovely roundhouse style turn on the wave. Really surf related style, as Duncan Coombs was commenting on earlier on. Using both rails of the board, not just the downwind turning rail on the top turn. Now Lucas with a nice looking wave here. In perfect position, just right on the shoulder. Carving nicely downwind, but gets hung up a little bit on the lip there. Struggling to regain his board speed, but he has picked it back up now. Nice vertical turning. Small sail, small board choice, allowing him to do those really vertical turns. A little bit of a lift to the fins there. And that's him pretty much to the inside at that point. But you can see now as we switch cameras, way downwind, goita attempt, but goes down on the goita. As for Phil, Just picking up a wave, starting his wave ride, dropping off the wind, committing onto the inside rail, top turn, cranking it round, back to backside. Gotta love this guy's style, front side to backside riding, using every inch and every section of the wave to gain as much power and speed as possible. Really working the wave so as to go upwind now. Feel about to bear off, start using the power of the wave, initiates into the bottom turn, and as I was saying earlier, you can see the difference with the pro riders. You just pull that a little bit further out in front of the wave, which allows them a little bit more radius carving time so as to get a bit more vertically up the face. Almost into the final 30 seconds, so these will be the last waves. Lucas with a bigger wave, snaps it off the top, just loses the fins a little bit, but again back under control, and Phil cranking on the wave behind as well. Nice big wally wave for Phil in the background, probably the bigger wave of the set. And hitting and hitting and hitting the lip. This is going to be the highest scoring wave, I suspect, of this heat. It goes down in that final turn, which I make to be probably his fourth turn on that wave. But the first 3 turns, if I got the count right, were all stunning on a much, much bigger set wave. And that's the blower for the end of the heat.